everybody, it's Tony from CarStars, and I'm kind of doing a little, kind of an academic research project right now for CarStars. Um, right now, you're just capturing my desktop here. This is Facebook Marketplace. This is kind of my local area. What I'm doing is I'm searching for LS, typical 5.3 LS engine prices. So I'm part of a Facebook group called what is it? Low Buck LS. And on there, a lot of times people will ask, "What should I pay for this engine? What should I be looking to pay for an engine?" Blah blah blah. Right? So oftentimes people will say, "Oh, you can get a rebuildable core. You shouldn't pay any more than $100 to $200 for a rebuildable 5.3." And sometimes they're even talking about 6.0 motors. And I don't know about you, but in my area, 6.0 motors are 6.0 and 6.2. 6.2s are pretty rare. 6.0s not as rare, obviously, but they go for a premium. So let's take a look. If you can see my little hand pointer here, this is the area I live, Southeast Tennessee. You can see where the little red pin mark is, and I put the search way out to 500 miles, so you can see how many states it's covering: Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, so on and so on, right? So it's covering a big chunk of not only the center and south and east and Midwest, but it's covering a big chunk of the country. So let's take a look. What I did is I searched for 5.3 LS engine, okay? So price-wise, immediately we're starting to see complete motors here. You can see one for $400. That's real close to me. 350, so that's no intake, no accessories, no nothing, no harness. 600, this one's looking a little more complete, still has no intake. This one here looks just to be pretty rough, no heads, no intake, no accessories. Obviously, it's just a block. Excuse me. I could probably have to mute that. Oh, and I apologize for the quality of the audio. I'm using this gaming headset I have, and the mic on it. It's just not very good. So, but it's what I got. So, anyway, you can see over here this 5.3 for $1,200. So now we're kind of getting closer to what people are saying you can get LS motors for. So here we are in South Carolina. We've got this used 5.3. They're saying it's an LT. Getting rid of a bunch. I believe I have 5 LS motors. Need them gone. So this guy's got a bunch of motors and he needs them gone. So you can see they're in varying conditions and completeness. This one looks like it's already had the rods taken out, or the push rods taken out, and the valve train probably disassembled, seeing how there's the support for the rockers there. So God only knows what's going on with these and what condition they're actually in. So, but that's actually closer to what people say they can get cores for, which is $100. So let's keep looking. So yeah, there is a $100 rebuildable, and if you could see me, I'm doing air quotes. But yeah, I would say that if you were to take all the prices for this vast area that we're looking at here, look, 800, 650, 450. So this is a 6-liter right here. Looks pretty complete for 650. So comes with computer and harness. Timing chain broke and bent some valves. Okay, so the engines I'm finding that are actually cheap are the ones that there's something definitely wrong with them. Excuse me again. I am feeling under the weather, so please bear with me. So look at this guy. This guy wants 550, let's see, 5.3 LS 3500, so he's probably rebuilt it. Remanufactured, dressed engine. So it looks like it's been completely rebuilt for 3,500. Probably about $1,000 off a factory rebuilt motor. All right, so now I am not taking into consideration any motor you could go to, say, a junkyard and pull, because everybody's junkyard prices are going to be different. Some people seem to be living near this mythical junkyard where they'll sell you a 6.2 LS motor for $100. I can tell you that I don't live anywhere near that junkyard. And I suspect most people don't live anywhere near that junkyard either. So if we're taking these prices 500, 500, 1,000, 350, 750, 950, 500, 400, 600, so on. Look at this. Here's a 5.3 LS out of a Chevy Avalanche. It was running when motor was pulled, had plans to rebuild. That's why it's tore down. I have the whole bottom end, crank pistons, cam heads, and LS1 heads, which whatever that is, probably maybe 243s or something. I don't know, but it's not clear from the ad. But that one looks to be relatively complete, already taken, torn down, ready for you to reassemble and rebuild. But it's oh, it's a Gen 4. That one's $400. So I'm not seeing a ton of these mythical $150, $100, $200 LS motors that are complete and ready to be rebuilt. So this one's a block with a crank. So it's just a bare block, nothing else goes with it, even though it's showing a crank. So who knows what's going on there. And so yeah, so within 500 miles of where I live in Southeast Tennessee, I am not seeing too many of these mythical $100, $200 rebuildable 5.3s, and certainly not 6.0 motors. I don't think we've seen a 6.0 for less than $450. So let's see, a 5.3 block, $250, $3,800 for this rebuilt one here, $400 for God knows what you're looking at here. A whole bunch of motors. Some are good, some are not. Selling as cores, have 6. Okay, that's down in Mobile, Alabama. So geographic location will play a huge part in your being able to find a LS core for cheap. So now look at this. Sorry about that. All right, we got a $150 motor. Good LS, believed it's a 5.3, ran when pulled. So why is it sitting out here? Is it filled with water now? $150. Okay, so here is that mythical, possibly 5.3, probably actually a 4.8. You never know. $150. Okay, so we found one. Of the dozens we've already looked at, there was one. So that was relatively complete, that is. All right, here's another 4th gen, 5.3, 180,000. Lifter failed. Okay. Looks like it's just about a short block. No heads. $200. Okay. So before this gets too long, we're kicking a dead horse here, I think, at least for this right now. Look at this. Look at this picture right here. Completely 100% complete motor sitting on an engine stand. $100. Well, that's engines and transmissions only. Most brands and models available. Best prices. $100 for this? Nonsense. See this name? Maria Nieves? Total fraud. This, I've seen so many of these ads and I've called on them, and this irritates me to no end. This engine right here is not available. It is not for $100. It's total. You call this number or whatever the contact information is, and it's some reseller that's going to try to sell you an LS motor for $2,000. There is no $100 motor. Those are simply fraud. If you see a Hispanic female listed as the seller, you can, and I'm going to guess most Hispanic men listed as the seller, it's going to be this fraud. It's always routed to someplace in Texas. And yeah, so total joke. That's not available. There is no $100 motor that looks like that. Okay, so as we scroll through these listing after listing after listing, if you're looking at a $100 LS motor, it's going to be a short block or something like this one here, which looks pretty sketchy. So yeah, so here's a complete motor, 450. LS engine, iron block, 706 heads, great oil pressure, needs to be resealed. Multiple gaskets are bad, noisy lifter. Okay, so obviously needs a complete rebuild, 450. But at least that's a good price if you're going to rebuild the motor anyway. So yeah, as we scroll through, here's a $200 in Stony Creek, Virginia. And 0653 LS locked up, needs rebuilding. So God only knows what the condition of the crank and the rods are. So, or the cylinder or the head, or God only knows what's going on inside that. So that's probably why it's $250. If that's, oh, $200, sorry. So yeah. So as we scroll through, we can see the super cheap ones there's issues. So, and I'm not saying you're not going to find issues on even the more expensive ones. So you might as well start out cheap, right? So here's a Gen 3 5.3, good buildable short block, spins freely, 250 bucks. So again, no heads, no intake, no nothing else. Yeah. So all those parts, of course, are going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of more dollars. You're better off getting as complete of a motor as you can. So this is my general area, and as you can see, there aren't a lot of options for a super cheap motor. So let's get rid of this one. Let's look at the next geographical area. This is Seattle, Washington. Okay, also 500 miles. So that actually goes into Canada, all the way through Oregon, into Idaho mostly, down into Northern California, maybe even a little part of Nevada there. So let's see what they've got. Again, we're seeing similar prices to my area, maybe even a little more expensive. Yeah, we're looking at 850, 800, 900, 850. That's a 6-liter, so that's 900. An LM7 5.3, 400 bucks. So let's see, I have a rebuildable LM7 5.3 iron block, making good oil pressure, needs a new oil pump. Wasn't making good oil pressure, needs a new oil pump, and probably once over all the internals, blah, blah, blah. 70S6, possibly cracked heads, don't waste my time, blah, blah, I know what I got, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so again, a cheap motor, but it's got issues. Possibly cracked heads, so you need new heads. There's another 200 bucks. Yada, yada, yada. 500, 550. 600 for a 5.3, 650 for what looks to be somewhat complete. I don't see an intake. This looks complete with transmission, 1200. Seems like a good deal. 750 for a 6-liter, and so on. So these prices are kind of similar to what we've got here in Southeast Tennessee in the surrounding 500-mile area. $1,200 for this 5.3. Looks complete. $700 for this 5.3 looks complete. Yeah, so we're not gonna waste a ton of time. Here's a 5.3 LS truck intake. He just wants 100 bucks. It's not bad. Depends on what kind of intake. Excuse me. Don't you hate when you're sick and you're coughing and you just feel miserable? I don't actually. Who would like that, right? Not me, not but anybody I know. So here's a rebuildable for $325, one of the cheaper ones we've seen. Core 3.5 LM7 does not include the alternator. Okay, that's in an auto wrecker place in Albany, Oregon. Looks complete with the harness, the heads, everything. 862 heads. Okay, so at least that's a complete motor for $325. So that seems like a deal in that general area. So, but I don't know about you, but I personally am not going to drive 500 miles to go get a motor, even if I could save a couple $100 on it, because I'm going to spend money in gas, lodging, because I don't think I'm going to do 10 hours out and 10 hours back driving without spending the night somewhere and at least having a good meal somewhere, right? So there's another couple $100. Okay, so this guy's got a blown 4.8, has a lot of good parts, water pump, power steering, AC, etc. He wants 200 bucks, but it's blown. Yada, yada, yada. So yeah, so as we can see here, it's about the same pricing. Nothing exceedingly or extremely cheap. So let's see, look at this. 380. Two for, God, I can't even read today. 380 bucks for sale, 2 5.3s, right? With 8-month warranties. Benjamin Davis, I'm going to call, this is in Redding, California. I'm calling BS on this. I just have a hard time believing there's a complete $380 LS motor with a warranty. So, I don't know. Could be wrong. So, yeah. So, these prices, about the same, maybe slightly higher than my area, but not by much. So, yeah. Let's check some other location. Let's close this. Our next stop is Los Angeles, within 500 miles. As you can see, it goes all the way into the Baja, Arizona, Nevada, parts of Utah, and most of California. So let's see what's going on here in California. Again, 1600 right off the bat for a mostly complete motor there. Then to 500, 500, 2200, 600, 1600, 500, 1700, 950, $1. Yeah, okay. I'm going to say this guy's got so many available. La la la. Let's see what he's got. Complete engines with transmissions. 5.3 with a 4L60E, 2200. Yeah, so nowhere near a $100 bare bones block. So this guy's got 27 Gen 4 6 liters, $800 bare short blocks. Okay. For the heads, oh my gosh. Look, for a set of 243 heads, he wants $400. Let's see, 823 heads are 800. So yeah, no deal there. Nothing cheap there. So I'm already going to say that LA area, most of California, seems to be kind of spendy. I mean, although there seems to be some deals, $600 sold as is, pulled from running car, comes with everything but the ECUs, and that's another. Okay, so what does it not come with? It does not come with the ECU, harness, alternator, AC condenser, or the starter. Or you can purchase for $800 with a 90-day warranty. It's in Palmdale. Yeah, so did it say miles? No, it didn't say miles. So I'm going to guess super high mile. Let's see. Okay, so there's some deals here and there, it seems. But generally speaking, I'm going to say, here's a $200. 5.3 LS motor, 2006. I think it needs rebuilt. Does turn over. Need gone. Has 2 exhaust bolts broke off and head 200 firm. Crank turns but does not run. 862 heads. I think it has over 200,000 miles. Okay, so that's in Mustang, Oklahoma. Excuse me. Okay, so what are we getting? Possibly a 5.3. Could be a 4.8. Complete with intake. No accessories. No harness. Okay. So that's a good deal. Let's see, 750, 350 for the heads. Motor and transmission, 1600, 600, 700, 200 for this intake, 2100 for a complete motor. Yeah, so I'm not seeing those $100 to $200 deals, honestly, for complete motors. So, yeah, just kind of more of the same. And before this video gets insanely long, let's go on and check some other areas. Obviously, this isn't going to be 100% comprehensive, covering every area of the country and every possible scenario. You will run into that one guy that has that LS that's been sitting in his garage for years, wants to get rid of it, like this guy here with a 4.8 for $150, 706 heads. To repair, it passes water. I'm not sure what he means, maybe a blown head gasket. So if water is leaked into the cylinders, God only knows what the condition of the cylinders is going to be in, but very cheap, no intake, no accessories, no harness, of course. So again, kind of a short block almost situation for the cheapness. All right, so let's move on. Next up is Dallas, Texas. And as you can see, it covers most of Texas, if not all of it. Well, not just this little corner here. Louisiana, what is this up here? This is Missouri. That's Oklahoma. Is this Kansas, I think? Geography's awesome. So yeah, so it covers part of Mississippi here. So let's see what we get. All right, now we're talking. 600 engine, cable, and electric throttle. Okay, so it looks like it's complete. Don't tell me it has the transmission for $600. Okay, so this is, you have several 5.3, 4.8, engines, price range depending on specific motor, also available. Okay, so this is bogus, showing a motor that he's not really selling to you for $600. So that's bogus. Let's see, what's this? $400. Trey Boy Izzy is the seller. Engine and transmission for sale. Warranty on all of them, all makes and models. So definitely not $400 for a 6.2. That's totally a lie. So complete 850, 850, 250 for just the block, and it looks like maybe some pistons, probably the crank. 400, 5.3. Okay, this looks complete. Has wiring harness when pulled. Had 151,000 miles. Can't find the computer, but everything else is there. Okay, so that's a good deal. $400. That's in Alexander, Arkansas. Go check that out. That seems like a good price. This guy wants $2,200 for his rebuilt motor. $450 for this block. Gen 4 of some kind, 6062 LS swap and engine for sale, so I'm not sure what he's selling. Let's actually look at that. I have LS engines and transmissions for swap and sale, blah, blah, blah. Braylor Zachary is selling that, so that's bogus. He's not selling you whatever for $450. Ready to build, 630, so $650 for this complete motor. Recommends rebuilding it, but ran when pulled. Looks mostly complete. So again, I'm not seeing that mythical $100 to $200 rebuildable core that is complete with intake heads, you know, all that stuff. Because let me tell you something, you're so better off buying a motor that's complete because by the time you piece everything together, you've spent far more than it would have cost to just buy it complete. So this is $600 complete. Ran good before pulled. 2002 GMC, 174,000 miles. Seems like a good deal. That is in Ennis, Texas. Been to Ennis? Anyone? Are you watching this and you live in Ennis right now? Let me know how it is. So again, right off the bat, this looks bogus. Yep, bogus. Fabiano Morales is not selling you this motor for $450. It's totally a joke. Totally fraud. All right, so let's go on. This guy's got a $400 motor, looks complete. Needs rebuilt, has a chirping sound, so I just bought, he spelled bought, B-O-T, a different one and put it in my 2003 Suburban. Could be an easy fix or not, I don't know much about motors. I want $400 and it still runs, okay. Not a bad deal there. So yeah, so you'll find the odd deal here and there, but as a general rule, the prices, I mean, the prices are pretty consistent. I'm going to say that if somebody were to ask me, it's like, oh, what should I expect to pay for a 5.3? I'm going to say $500. Because after you add all these numbers together and kind of get your general average price, I bet it's $500. I'd be willing to bet dollars to pesos it's $500. Oh, this sweet copper-coated one is let's see, 5.3 engine head gasket, oil leaks, etc. Silverados in F. So whatever that means, totally, you're not buying this motor here for $500. I don't know what he means by any of that. The seller was Hispanic. Maybe his English is terrible. Obviously, it must be. So I don't think he's actually selling you this motor for $500. So let's go on. This is a complete motor. Antonio Jose. I bet he's not selling this. Brand new engine with 0 miles with a warranty for $400. Not true. Not true. Okay, here's a $200 motor. I think it needs rebuilt. Does turn over. I need it gone. Has 2 exhaust bolts broke off. Okay, we've already seen this from Mustang. So yeah, so you're going to get this oddball listing every now and then for a super cheap LS. And if you see it and it's something you can afford and it's the only thing you can afford, you better jump on it. Because otherwise, this is what you're going to find. You're going to find a motor like this, $600, $500, comes with the harness and computer. And honestly, in my mind, that's not a bad deal. Can you find a better deal? Probably. Will it take you a long while of searching and you know, having to look in different areas? Yes. A guy dropped me a note on Facebook when I made a comment saying you're not going to find those motors. He said, "Oh, I've got, they're all over the place." And from what I'm seeing here, just from, obviously Facebook Marketplace, which seems to be way more popular than Craigslist these days, is that they are not all over the place. He said everybody's got their own honey hole, and that might be true. Everybody might have their own source for these engines that have been pulled from wrecked cars or whatever, fleet motors, God only knows what, right? But not everybody has access to the honey hole, and the honey hole information is not shared with everybody, so you are not going to find that engine. So it says good motor, bought it to go in my own V, but it was wrong size. What is an own V? So it's a Chevy 5.3 250, looks pretty complete. No harness, doesn't look like, obviously, but 250. So yeah, you're going to occasionally find the deal. Okay, looks like a complete used LS engine pulled from a 1500 Silverado. Same as goods, or some are good, some are not. Selling his cores, have 6. Okay, we've already seen this one. All right, so some of them are duplicate because the geographic areas overlap. So yeah, so let's move on. The next area I searched is New York. So check it out. Covers all of Maine, all the New England states, Pennsylvania, New York, all the way through West Virginia into Ohio, Virginia, even North Carolina. So again, we're going to probably see some duplicate listings, but right off the bat, 500, 700, 1,000, 400, 600, 1,800, 800, 200. All right, so what's the 200? 5.3 LS with 706 heads, ran rough, had low oil pressure. Let me know if you have any questions. So this is, I think, what you're going to find for 200 bucks. No intake, no harness, probably missing other parts. Already has a pre-existing issue. So rebuildable core, sure. Is it like the best deal going? No, I don't think so. I don't think you spending 200 bucks on that motor is your best bet. So here's a 5.3 iron block, number 7 cylinder, has no compression. It was running. Okay. All right. So he wants 350. So he mentions a transmission, but I doubt he's selling the transmission with the motor. So there's one for 500. Looks complete. 800 looks complete. 1650, it's got to be rebuilt. Let's see what he's saying. Oh, it's an 016. So it's much newer. Needs a camshaft. He wants 1,650 bucks. So, excuse me. Sorry about the cough. 1,000, 500, 1,000, 700. So these numbers are a little higher than I think what we're seeing in my area. But again, some deals can be found here and there. Looks like Pennsylvania's got reasonable prices. Here is a freshly pulled 5.3. Your next LS swap, complete with harness, drive-by cable setup, pulled from my 2002 Avalanche 550. And he can help you load it. That's a good deal. That's in Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. That seems like a good deal. Here's a complete 5.3. 5.3, 5.3. And I'm not going to do this all over again, searching for 6.0s, because we'll probably find similar prices, if not more. We're definitely not going to find $100 6.0s, even though people say that you can. So this guy's got a block engine. 5.3, only removed the valve of one of the heads. I bought it and did not install it. I don't have a hydraulic jack to lift. You would need to have yours. Okay, so he only removed one of the valve of one of the heads, but it looks like he's actually removed the head, so I don't know what's going on here. And if he's got the rest of the parts, but that one's cheap, 150 bucks. So again, God only knows what's going on there. But yeah, look, this one looks like it's complete. Engine is ready to be pulled. Not sure of miles. Price includes any wiring. Would trade for a 4-foot brush hog. Ah, good deal. That's in Iliquipa, Pennsylvania, by Zach Venice. So yeah, that's a good deal. 400 bucks if you've got the time to pull the motor. So $400 here for this. Looks to be complete. Engine and transmission. 01 Tahoe 53 4L60 transmission and transfer case. Engine and trans on it when pulled. Asking 700. Okay, so it's not 400, it's 700. Will not separate. So why does he put 400 here if the actual asking is 700? That's still a really good deal. Transmission, transfer case, engine, harness, everything. That's a good deal. But not $400. So yeah, it's just going through. I see we've already run 30 minutes on this recording, so got to cut it short. So let's just kind of cut it here. I'm not seeing. I think one guy said, "Oh, where I live," and he was like in a northeastern state. He said that rust. Look at this picture right here. Rust eats up everything. It says $50 Chevrolet LC9 53 computer and wiring harness. So is it just the computer and wiring harness for $50? Probably. Okay, so not an engine. All right, he's saying that because the rust eats up everything, you can buy the cars with the engines in them for nothing. So, and that might be true. But then now you've got a rusty car that is now yours that you've got to deal with. I guess you could just haul it to the junkyard and get a couple bucks for scrap. So that might be a really good deal if you've got the time and inclination to, you know, get a beater truck that's rusted out and pull the motor. But here's a 275. I'm selling a 5.3 LS engine that I'm about to use as a mock-up to test fit engine. It's partially disassembled. Good for test fitting. Well, building project cars will need to be rebuilt. Okay, so he wants it gone. Looks mostly complete, I guess. No harness. But he says he's got all that stuff, so that's a good deal. And close to the price that people claim is out there. But as we can see, we are not going to any specific geographic area where you're like, oh my God, this is like the haven of LS motor swaps that, you know, you can buy something for dirt cheap and it's going to be awesome and you barely have to put any rings in it or even touch it and it's going to be, you know, fantastic for an overhaul or for a swap and blah, blah, blah. You know, it just doesn't exist. So is this Maine? Let's see. 0553 LM7 had 117 when pulled, spins freely, not broken or not locked up, few broken exhaust manifold bolts, one coil pack missing. Has the harness. Good deal, $350. So yeah, so there's some occasional good deals here and there, but outstanding, insane deals, no. Here's a 200,000 for 250. Motor was just pulled. This motor had the classic LS slight tick, but ran 100% fine. Needs a oil pan because the oil pan bolt hole is stripped. So that's $250. So all right, let's move on. And this the final one we're going to look at is the Minneapolis, Minnesota, centered on that. So you've got a lot of Midwest stuff going on here, covering all these states. And let's see what we got price-wise here. If I were to guess, I would say, oh man, if you went to the Midwest, that's where you're going to find cheap truck engines. And look, right off the bat, we got a $250 motor, 5.3, been sitting around in my shop, never gone through. $250. So this is $400. Ran good when pulled. 03 Chevy Avalanche, 155 miles. Truck was parked for about 2 years. Bought it wrecked. Turns over. Complete. $400. That's a good deal. Okay, so far I'm kind of liking what the Midwest has to offer here. $300. Looks complete. Ran when pulled. 09 Chevy Silverado. Was told it's a 4.8 with 200,000. No trades. Okay, good for turbo. Let's see what else we got. I'm seeing significantly lower prices on these engines. It seems. $400, $350. Now then you run across something like this, the 6-liter LQ4 for $1,000. $450. $1. So what is 5.3 pulled from 156K, comes with a computer. Not sure what it's worth, so I'll take the best offer. So God only knows what he's going to take, but I'm going to guess it's going to be in this range, 450, 350, complete. 5.3 model truck engine, unknown miles, turns freely, comes with ECM and harness. We'll trade for rebuilt 700 R4 or a built small block Chevy motor from the early 90s, blah, blah, blah. So that's a good deal, 350 for all that. Looks good, 399, 400. Okay, I'm just gonna declare this region the winner in our price battle because they have. Sorry, my throat is awful. Let me take a sip of my soda here. Okay, not much better. So anyway, yeah, I'm gonna declare this area the price winner because I'm seeing more motors that are complete for the $400 to $500 range, like this one here in Herman, Nebraska. I have a couple LS motors available, complete with harness and ECU. Both are 5.3 LM7s, 200,000 miles, 452 available, no smoke or engine noise. Located near Herman, Nebraska. He also has two working 4L60Es, 4x4s, for $200. So those are good prices right there. So again, I'm seeing some upper end prices also, but what I'm seeing in the lower end prices, I'm liking. And I wish those were the prices near me, that this was a consistent price for a complete motor. So this is a 5.3 out of an 02 Avalanche, 200,000 miles, turnkey LS swap. Okay, you see it, it's available. So here we go, and that's in Protivin, Iowa. Okay, so the Midwest is delivering. So look at this though. Then you come upon something like this. So this is an LQ9, so it's a 6-liter, slightly higher compression motor. It's in Rogers, Minnesota, and it's an LQ9 pulled from an Escalade with less than 120,000 miles. Bottom end was checked over and it looked great. Installed a BTR cam, lifters, push rods, new trays, cam bearings, Michigan Motorsports rockers, BTR springs, a new oil pump, and the list goes on. So it's kind of refreshed and redone for $3,000. So is that reasonable? I wouldn't buy it because I'd probably just rather source my own 6.0 and do the work myself. But I mean, if it's worth it to somebody who needs a 6.0 and doesn't want to do the work or can't do the work because they don't have the space. So yeah, it's probably worth it to somebody. Price seems high though. So this looks like a complete 5.3 motor, 220 on the motor, comes with the ECM but no wiring. Okay. I doubt it comes with the transmission either, but that's for $550. So yeah, so the winner of this battle is going to be the Midwest geographic location for the cheapest motors, consistently cheap motors, not the oddball cheap motors, because every location that you're in, you're going to have that oddball cheap motor. But for a motor like this, for $400, a complete 5.3, although this one's missing the intake, with the harness, ECM, accessories, and all that stuff, it looks like this is the place to buy it, is one of these Midwest motors. But otherwise, I'm still, even here in the Midwest, I'm not seeing that mythical $100 to $200 LS 5.3 rebuildable unless something's seriously wrong with the motor or has gone wrong with the motor. I'm not saying it's not rebuildable, but again, you get what you pay for, right? So am I going to say that that myth is busted? Well, it's not really busted because everybody has their own experience, and everybody, like that one poster made his comment to me on Facebook that everybody's got their honey hole. So can you go out and find that 6.0 that was for $150 and in good condition, it came with everything? Maybe, but you're going to be waiting for years to finally find it. In the meanwhile, you're going to see a lot of this. A $400 5.3. So anyway, what's your experience? Where do you live? What have you seen? What are the prices in your area? In my area, I'm going to say I'm kind of somewhere in between. I'm not the higher West Coast prices that we saw. I'm not the lower Midwest prices that we are seeing here. East Coast is kind of all over the place too. So anyway, let me know what you experienced and what you're paying. And thanks for watching this exceedingly long video. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more content. All right, see y'all later.